having a huge party?
Nope, just me.
Get delicious cuisine from the country's best chefs, delivered right to your door with the click of a button.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49, live and exclusively on NSPN, Monday through Saturday, Sunday through Sunday, whatever you want to call it. We got content here 365 days a week, 24 hours a day. Content is always flowing on all of our social media websites. Always make sure to check out Chef to You. Make sure to check out GorillaMarketing.com. Always make sure to check out the new topic we're talking about today, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But always make sure to check out all the great shows right here on NSPN. And as always, I'm your host, Blake Anthony, giving it to you right here, 120%. Now, what did we talk about last time? Ali Marpet retiring. So now we're going to talk about something, Deion Sanders trying to bring the HBCUs in, trying to incorporate Black owners with the Brian Flores thing coming on. It's a lot to talk about. So, right here at NSPN, we're always expanding into new things. We were just at NASCAR and Daytona 500. Now we're being media for indoor football leagues, entrepreneurs, Dame Dash and things like that. Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about Dame Dash and Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay. Talk about the American indoor football league that's just starting up now. I don't want to spoil things, that's why I keep kind of stuttering, but I'm gonna let you guys just check it out and you decide what you think about it.
So how have you been? What's new with you?
Everything, man. All my dreams are coming true. I want to go down in history not as like an actor or, an entertainer, not even an entrepreneur. I want to go down in history as an industry conqueror.
Okay.
I don't think the way industries are set up right now behoove us as a culture, and they all need to be changed.
Okay.
So when I went into the music business, I shook that shit up, and I benched the people from the other culture that I didn't think were treating us fairly, like a Leo or Cohen.
Right.
I like to call them out by name.
Right.
Which a lot of us don't do.
Right.
And I did the same thing in the movie business. I don't like to get at homeboy Weinstein, but I was getting after him way before we went through what he went through, and everybody thought I was crazy when I made Paid in Full.
Right.
Which I'm about to make part 2.
Right.
And fashion, same thing. Rockwear, Rachel Roy, State Property, But the industry and television. Now I have this partnership with Fox Soul, and I have my own studios. I make my own movies. I distribute other people's movies. I'm a director. But the industry that I really haven't shook up and I've been really aggravated about is sports.
Okay.
I think it's the most flagrant example of racism and the programming of us looking like we're not equal and us hurting each other and still looking and regarding each other as number 2, especially the NFL.
Right.
So, I look at things on a therapeutic and also a psychological level, because that's the way muscle is controlled. So if you're a professional football player, which you have been, your owner, I don't even like that name.
Right.
Your owner is the person that's your lifeline. That's who pays you.
Right.
That's who you have to be nice to all the time, no matter what, no matter how good you are. And every owner is white. Every owner is white. And I've personally tried to buy teams with people from the NFL, and you have to get voted in and all this, and it's ridiculous that every black, number one, in the NFL, if everyone black quit, there is no NFL.
True.
But at the end of the day, they all have to look up to a white man owner, and that must be traumatizing. And I don't like it. So I'm not mad about how people set their own house up. I just build my own.
Right.
So,
but you do understand how hard it is to get into that because they only have 32 teams. These franchises don't become available very often.
Let me just tell you something about me. Nothing's hard for me. What's hard for me is not trying.
Right.
Even if it's not successful, I'm doing it. And I'm doing it now. So my first step is an arena football league.
Okay.
We have a team, the Champa Cyclones.
Okay.
We'll be airing it. And, you know, there'll be black owners.
Right.
It doesn't mean that only black people could play.
Right.
But we'll be the landlords.
Right.
I'm going to start with 6 teams. We start immediately, you know. I think I'm going to make the announcement next Monday in Tampa.
Okay.
And you know, we start playing. Our first game is April 2nd, but in Alabama or Mississippi is the first game in March.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to have an approach on this.
Right.
And my thing is there'll be black head coaches, there'll be therapy, there'll be economic literacy, and they'll be teaching not like, yo, how to stay here, like, you know, be taught that you could be successful if you act a certain way.
Right.
It'll be about making sure that the players are rich.
Right.
And literate.
Right.
On every level, in every way. And
but what about the players that just want to get a paycheck, go home? Everybody doesn't have the business acumen that you does or don't want to be in that business model.
That's why I'll do the rough stuff. I'm gonna make sure that when a player doesn't have a career as a football player anymore,
right,
they have a career as an entrepreneur. They'll have some real estate.
Right.
And also I'm gonna do the same thing in the metaverse. So I already got the IUs for the MFL, the Metaverse Football League.
Okay.
And I already have the technology to 4D them up. And I already have the real estate in network, which is like the YouTube of the metaverse. Right. I already have the stadium being built. I got the AI, you know. I'm thinking in other dimensions as well. So at the end of the day, I want to shake up the sports industry. At least I'm going to try.
Right.
Everybody looks tough when nobody's fighting them.
Right.
When no one presents a different alternative. But I just think things would be a little better if we were in control, if we were just the landlords. I want to be in my own owner's box. I don't want to be a VIP in someone else's.
Right.
So I'll do it myself. And I'm up for the fight. I'm up for the war. You know, usually when you want to take a block, you get whoever's the toughest one.
Right.
I want to get a Jerry Jones. So, you know, I'd love to have a conversation with him to make me understand why there's no black owners. I want to know.
There's a lot to be said there. And what I'm going to say here is a lot more. It's going to be a lot of the same of what he's saying, just a little differently, because Dame Dash can come off as some people might think he's being racist. Some people might think he's a little arrogant. There's going to be a whole lot of mixed feelings when I talk about this subject here, and I'm going to try to touch on it on a.
So how have you been? What's new with you?
Don't do it.
On a easier way of things of me saying it. Should you see how I'm going to put this? He's right in the sense, and I'm speaking obviously because I am a black man. I'm saying it from what I've seen. He's right. We always think of ourselves as always being second. We never think of ourselves to be more than that. We think that the end all be all is to be employed by somebody, make a lot of money, and that's just the end of it. Never actually owning anything, not exactly investing in ourselves and businesses and like that, and collaborating on building things up like banks and sports teams. We're always such in a competitive way and competing against ourselves to actually get nowhere. And that's a fact. That's not my opinion. That is minorities, especially he's talking about black, compete against ourselves a lot to get nowhere or to just make ends meet or to just pretend to fit in where it wasn't made for you to fit in. Like I said, Dame's a lot more aggressive than I am when talking about this because he's seen a lot of different things. I've experienced some different things and the way people see, you know, people of color as far as owning things. I think that like he talks about a narrative and things like that, or you know, it's always your second fiddle. You always know that you're going to be second. There's no actually knowing you're going to be the boss of something. It's always you got to work for somebody, and you just never get ahead where you need to go, or to establish something. You got to be voted in. You got to be put at a table and things like that. Well, he wants to build his own table and invite who he wants in, or have people buy in rightfully to move in the situation. He wants to create an opportunity for people to do that. That's what I get out of it. He says it a lot more aggressively than I'm saying it. And I'm just adding things that I know for a fact that, people of the Black community, the way they think. Like Shannon said, what about people who just want to make their money and get out of there, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of people like that, Black, white, or indifferent or whatever. There's a lot of people like that, just want to feed their family, go out and do that, et cetera, et cetera. I know he's thinking, people of color are more, it's like a gladiator type thing. They go out there and perform for a crowd, their bodies banged up, abused. When the career is said and done, they can't even enjoy themselves. And in the game of football, it isn't just African Americans. A lot of whites as well that are experiencing these things as well, putting their bodies on the line to be broken up. I'll probably never be the same myself with the way my neck hurts and things like that at times, memory loss and stuff like that. It takes tolls on everybody, but he's right on the fact that people of color don't ever see themselves being in that top spot. And he feels he is there. He's worked, he's earned his way. He's took his chances and he's put himself in these positions to be there. Now starting the American Indoor Football Alliance with 6 teams, 6 teams being, I'll read those off to you: Carolina Predators, Las Vegas Kings, Mississippi Raiders, St. Charles Bandits, and the Tampa Bay Cyclones. And he'll be announcing this league right here in the Tampa Bay area. So I will be right here. We'll be the media of the American Indoor Football Alliance. We'll be covering all this, and this could be interesting with guys like Deion Sanders, Marvin Lewis, and all these other former Black coaches. Will they want to put their hats in the ring and try to be a part of something like this? I believe the American Indoor Football Alliance was invited to the Combine to try to recruit players that are undrafted and have a home for them to play. You got the XFL coming back around, trying to pair up with the NFL. You have the Tampa Bay Bandits now coming back in the United Football League. There's a lot of avenues now coming out to compete with the NFL or give guys that couldn't find a home on the NFL stage get a chance somewhere else. Mind you, like he said, it's not just for Blacks, by Blacks, for Blacks. It's for everybody. It just wants to be predominantly African American owned. He never said, well, white owners can't own some of the teams, but he said he wants to be majority of African American. And I think that's going to be really, really interesting to see something like that. A lot of people will reference Black Wall Street and things like that. He makes some shots at the NFL. The NFL is very powerful. We saw what happened when you saw movies like The Concussion and things like that. When legal stuff comes at you and things like that, the NFL has a lot of deep pockets. I would like to see him get a one-on-one conversation with Jerry Jones and talk about the league and stuff like that. So I would like to see where the progression goes, especially with the whole accusations Brian Flores came out about the Rooney Rule being a chore versus a call of duty to do to try to promote more Black coaches in the league, because you'll never get any owners. So all you can do is have assistant owners, chairman owner, things like that, or VP, president, vice president, VPs, but they'll never be a boss. And I totally get where Dame's coming from, because the narrative always is we're the help of everything. We're the guys that do all the grunt work. We're the guys that clean up everything. We're never the boss. When you're a superhero, you're the sidekick. When they're superheroes, they're protecting the ghetto. It's never on a broad scale. It's always the same thing. You're guarding a lot of things that never project you anywhere. You stay in this narrative of, you know, where we're at and not going forward. So I can get where he's coming from and try to motivate. He says constantly lead by example, not talking about it, but being about it. And that's what he's doing. And I 100% commend him, and I would love to meet him one-on-one and have this conversation and talk about his views. But I think he breaks it down for Shannon point blank serious and what his intents are and how he thinks. And I can't blame him for feeling that way. He's had success. He has reasons for why he does things, and it's where he's been successful. I can't argue with success. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. I would like to hear a lot of what everybody else thinks. Don't get caught up in exactly how he's presenting everything. Just think about the material that he's talking about. That's why I wanted to kind of come on here and give a different narrative or perspective of things on where he's coming from, because I can totally get where Dame is coming from with a lot of this stuff. I wish like Brian Flores would have had more proof, you know, stuff that he's talking about, because it would back up, you know, it would go a lot with what Dame's talking about. You putting your hat in the ring, but you actually never have a chance because you got to be voted in by everybody who doesn't look like you. I don't have facts of that. That's why you don't hear me commenting on that. But Dame obviously has more knowledge on that and knowing what could and could not happen when he tried to make his way into the teams, into, you know, getting another NFL franchise out there. He said he necessarily doesn't want to buy one. He wants to make his own. As the great Eric Thomas says, if you don't want to put me a seat at the table, I got to make my own table. We making our own table. That's what he's trying to do. What do you guys think? What do you think? You think American Indoor Football Alliance is going to be great? Anytime there's more football, I would love it and see who competes in these leagues. Love to get some interviews. We just had one with Smith, the Tampa Bay Cyclones defensive lineman. And you'll see many more here. And I look forward to meeting Dame in the future when he makes this announcement. I look forward to meeting Dame out there for the opening of the American Indoor Football Alliance coming in March. And you guys will hear more from me as more of this information comes out. So let me know what you guys think. Leave comment in the comment sections. Again, don't get caught up, because I know some people, they always get caught up, you know, in the way he presents it. Just listen to the message that he's saying. And that's all I got for this. I wanted to come on here and talk about this because it's going to be kind of a big deal. And I think Deion Sanders kind of opened the way for this to come out. Plus, many times Stephen A. Smith has talked about not being black owners, black head coaches being looked over for mediocre coaches like Joe Judge and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger and see what actually happens in the future. Who knows? Only time can tell. Thank you guys for your time. And as always, make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms at Blake Anthony 49. And we end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with this entirely up to you. Thank you guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons. Boom.
You having a huge party?
Nope, just me.
Get delicious cuisine from the country's best chefs delivered right to your door with the click of a button.